My name is Magnus Chigozie-Nmonwu. I'm a partner with VM Professional Solutions. I am thrilled and excited to be hosting this webinar session today. This webinar is our Going Digital series, and today's session is the second edition. It's a webinar series, and we hope to be able to achieve a 7 weeks session. It's all about trying to help businesses in Nigeria to automate and digitize practically all their business processes, regardless of their industry, and enable them to achieve effectiveness and growth during and post COVID-19. I'm being joined today by distinguished across different globes, some in Nigeria, some in Africa, and my very good friend Kartik, who has graciously agreed to join us from India. With me as well is the founder of VM Professional Solutions, Vivian, and I would like Vivian to quickly give a small opening while I tend to share my screen and take the discussion for today going forward. Vivian?
Hi, Magnus. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming on our webinar. My name is Vivian. Like Magnus said, I'm a co-founder and partner at VM Professional Solutions. I want to say a big thank you to Jeffrey, Joel, Kartik, and Paul for agreeing to come on this webinar to share your expert insights. Thanks so much. Thank you to all attendees. This is the second edition of the Going Digital Nigeria webinar series. And this series is about helping Nigerian businesses with insights and tools and expert advice or expert tips on how they can digitize their business processes or improve on current IT tools so they can achieve effectiveness and growth during and post COVID-19. So I will leave the floor for Magnus. Magnus is the host and moderator of this webinar. So I'll just stand by and watch and learn as well. Thanks so much, everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, Vivian. In today's webinar, the Going Digital Series Nigeria, to give out to our attendees and all other joiners who are following us on Facebook and on YouTube. And how do you qualify for this freebie? Whether you're a business owner or you work for somebody, at one point or the other, you probably may need a business tool. So we will be giving out some business tools at the end of this webinar, and is hashtag VI-M30. So what do you need to do to qualify for this webinar? As we go along the presentation and the panelists begin to share their ideas, share their insights, if there are topics, if there are statements, if there are facts, if there are comments that appeal to you very much, we want you to go onto any of the social media platforms, which is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and post it out there. The individual, and please, when you do post, add a hashtag Going Digital Nigeria, so that we can monitor and track, because the individual with the highest number of likes, shares, comments, or tweets will qualify automatically, even if it is 10, 12 likes or tweets that you or reshare that you have. Such individual will qualify to get a free website and support from VM Professional Solutions to be able to get your business onto the cloud. And at the end of the day, we all want, this is our little way to try and contribute to the Nigerian business environment. So today is the 10th day of June. This is the second edition of the Going Digital Nigeria webinar. And our topic today, or rather before I go into the topic, let me tell you about VM Professional Solutions, who we are. VM is a professional services firm, and our main focus is to assist companies and individuals navigate their tax, audit, advisory, financial and business challenges, and people's services needs through the use of digital technology. So we're a digital firm. We focus on rendering general professional services to all manners of business, micro, small, large business, with the use of digital technology. And we're a firm of many firsts. We're the firm to be engaged by the Federal Inland Revenue Services to write and publish tax technical articles in Nigerian national newspapers for the education of taxpayers. We're also the first to partner with the Lagos Catholic Archdiocese to educate and conduct a tax clinic series to educate the business owners within their mates on the ease of trying and doing business right in Nigeria. We're also the first firm in Nigeria to create the tax law app, which is a compendium of all the taxes and laws and regulations in Nigeria in a digital form. So if you, and the tax law app is available on iOS and Android store. So basically what happens is, there's a video about this that will be shown at the end, but you are able to go into these stores, download an app, and be able to have at the palm of your hand the relevant provisions of all the laws in Nigeria as you do your business. We also partner and provide accounting support or software services to our businesses. So we have arrangements with a number of other accounting firms and other ERP firms like Wave, Zero, Vend, Shopify, Paystack as well, and so on, with a view to try and bridge the gap between business owners who need this software and the ability to use them. Because, as a business owner, one of the key functions that you have is that you need to concentrate on your core business function, whereas you can then automate your business process using some form of digital tool. So our role to support such businesses is to help them manage and install those support softwares that they need to drive their business. We do provide periodic trainings, conferences, and what have you. So you can learn more about VM Professional Solutions on www.vi-m.com. It's pronounced VM, but it's spelled VI-M. Okay, so our topic today is e-commerce outlook for Nigerian MSMEs. And we've got strong men who have been involved in all manners of e-commerce and payment platform digitization. So our panels today, or before we move into our panelists, I wanted to give a context as to what MSME is, because we are the ones that are dealing directly with these MSMEs and trying to get them to do the right things and get their business to the next level. So in terms of where we are and in terms of the number of SMEs, we'll try to give a concept around them. And we've taken these statistics from the recently published, which was published last year in 2019 by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics in conjunction with SMED, which is the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency. A survey was carried out in 2017, but the report was made available in 2019. And it defines these categories of business along number of employees and net worth, excluding obviously land and building So for micro businesses, it says a micro business is a business that have less than 10 employees and is worth less than 5 million naira. Whereas a small business is a business that has between 10 to 49 employees and is worth between 5 million to 50 million naira, excluding again land and buildings. Whereas a large business in Nigeria, and for the purpose of this webinar presentation today, is a company with 50 to 200 employees and worth between 50 million and 500 million worth of assets excluding land and buildings. And different organizations, different groups have different classifications or interpretations for what makes up a micro, small, or medium business. But for the purpose of what we intend to achieve from our webinar, we would like to stick to these definitions. And based on the same research, we gathered that we have about 41.5 million registered SMEs in Nigeria, and which accounts for 99% of the number of business that was surveyed in that report. And bulk of that number of those micro businesses also sit here in Lagos. So small business, total number of registered small businesses in Nigeria is about 71,000. And then the total number of registered medium businesses in Nigeria is about 1,793. So that's to give a concept as to what is SME, the number of SMEs, the classification, and then we can then begin to understand why this is important for us to make sure that the landscape, the outlook, the ability for small and medium businesses to do business right and have the necessary tools to exceed or succeed in the marketplace is very, very important because of these numbers that we're seeing here today. And today we're being joined by InterSwitch, and we're being being supported by Jeffrey Williams-Edem, who is the group head merchant acquiring at InterSwitch. Jeff is an expert in providing support, e-commerce support, payment support to businesses across Africa. In this particular webinar session, Jeff will aim to explain what e-commerce entails, its role in the business life of an SME, why and how SMEs can easily adopt and utilize e-commerce, and highlight some of the various options available for MSMEs in Nigeria. He would also highlight available payment gateways that are open to us here in the country and which can be easily integrated to a number of the e-commerce platforms. Jeff has worked in various places, but he is joining us today for the purpose of providing support and assisting MSMEs do very well. So Jeff is also here in Lagos with us. So Jeff, I don't know if you're online, could you just come up and say hello to our attendees, please? Hello, Jeff. Okay. In the absence of that, I think...
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeffrey. Thank you, Magnus, for introducing me.
Okay. So our next panelist...
Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello, I can hear you.
Okay, okay.
Thank you very much, Jeff, and welcome to today's webinar. Joel Bronkowski, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, is the head of strategic partnership at Paystack. He is one of the very few people who have worked for both WooCommerce and Shopify on strategic and channel partnership positions. At Paystack, he is saddled with the responsibility to tackle digital payments and e-commerce in Africa. He is very passionate about e-commerce and strives to lower the entry barriers, meaning he strives to create easy entry for small businesses to go digital. In today's presentation, Joel will be sharing the tricks behind e-commerce and the payment platforms, amongst other things. He's also going to be explaining everything an MSME needs to know about e-commerce and give us instances of to the advantages and why SMEs need to take their business online, and how, more importantly, how to do this quickly and the benefits that will come for the MSMEs. I would ask Joel to please come online and say hello to our attendees, please.
Hi, everyone. Excited to be here today.
Thank you, Joel. Our next panelist is my good friend, Kartik, who sits right now in India. As I gather, it's almost about 5 p.m. It's past closing hours in India at the moment. Kartik is currently the CEO and co-founder of websites.co.in. He's a serial entrepreneur, a TED speaker, and an angel investor. So if you're looking for investors to support your business, you might as well start contacting me so I can get you hooked up to Kartik. He has been championing the digital movement for the world's 200 million micro businesses, specifically in the areas of getting discovered, attracting new customers, and growing bigger through automation-led digital marketing. Having been recognized as a top 100 innovative leader by World Innovation Congress and top 50 marketing technologies leader by World Marketing Congress, he would be sharing a case study of nothing to something, highlighting how businesses unknown have become known and now global in outlook. He would re-echo the role of e-commerce to MSMEs in the digital transformation space and why it is important for businesses to go online, especially at a period like this. Thank you, Kartik, for joining us. Are you able to say hello to our attendees at this moment?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Magnus, for that lovely introduction. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you very much, Kartik. Then our last but one panelist is, I call him my boss. He's in person of Paul Itawansa. He recently retired from the Delta State Board of Inland Revenue, all the way in Warri, Delta State. His last position was the Director of Operations and has attained so many positions up until that position. As you could see, he's worked at the board for over 32 years, starting from the defunct Beldel State. He holds a PhD in public administration a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Taxation. He's a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Corporate Administration and a member of the Nigerian Institute of Management, and have attended several courses on leadership, tax administration, and strategic management. In today's webinar, Paul will be using his experience to provide insights into taxation for businesses and individuals as they take their business online. And I'm bold to say, if our attendees have other kinds of, tax issues, they can raise it, and collectively, in conjunction with Mr. Paul Itawansa, we try and give the relevant support. Mr. Paul, please come online and say hello to our audience.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I understand.
Attendees, you are welcome.
Yes, he's happy to be joining us today and is excited at this opportunity to provide his professional insights into taxation of individuals and MSMEs. I'm only just trying to echo what Mr. Paul is saying. So this is a summary and the faces of our panels today. So at this point, I'm going to be yielding the floor to Jeffrey. And Jeff, I think one of the first things our audience or our attendees would like to know is in terms of what is, when you hear e-commerce, from your perspective, what is e-commerce? So on the strength of that, you can then, as you try to give insight into this question, you can then take on with your presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so I'll try to go straight to the question you asked earlier. There's a lot of definition that you can find online as to what e-commerce is, but my definition, I tried to put it on one of the slides. So let me just go there real quick. So this is how I define what e-commerce is. And this is where an individual or an entity converts their product or services into a digital format and then present them online or in a digital way so that customers can pay them using digital currencies. So that is how I've simplified e-commerce in such a way that people today can understand. So if you had a store, say somewhere in Lekki or at Yaba, and people walk into your shop to buy things, that is a physical transaction. So you hand over the item to the person receives cash from you. Now, from a digital perspective, e-commerce is you digitizing that same toy or that same cloth in a way that you can then project that online so that that customer does not need to physically be available at your business location to buy that item. From a digital platform like your website or a social media page, the customer can request that item and make payment. Now, what is digital payment? This is payment that is not cash. That's a simpler way to look at it. This is where you have your debit card from your bank and then your money is sitting in an account. And instead of going to the bank to withdraw the money to make payment, that card gives you access to your money digitally. In today's innovative payment landscape, there are more ways than using your card to pay today. And on the slide, I input there your QR, which is your quick response code. That is becoming more and more acceptable in Nigeria today. And if you have your banking app, one of the features that your banking app does is enable you to transact using QR. That way, you can instantly debit your bank account and credit a merchant who also has that ability to receive such type of payment online. There's the famous one that we know, which is USSD. That has been around for a very, very long time. The new ones are the wallets and also the tokens as well that have become digital currencies for making payments today. With the COVID-19 situation, this has become more of an acceptable channel because nobody wants to trade money not knowing where the money is coming from. And so that would summarize what e-commerce is. Magnus?
Yes, I'm with you. So go ahead.
Okay, so let me just jump back to the slide. So I'll be looking at three things. Structure, Magnus, you've spoken a bit about that. The impact of COVID-19 on SMEs, MSMEs today, I would look a bit around that, but in a different context to what you mostly have discussed of seeing people talk about. and of course, the impact on MSMEs as e-commerce would have on their businesses. So you've talked about all the various but I'd like to talk about these 5 key things. The structure of MSME in Nigeria
we tend to be losing
is
you.
built around these 5 structures. So one would happen in that commerce, everybody would like to receive cash because the people who they need to from them. Okay, sorry, is it better now?
It's better now, go ahead.
All right. So we find as well that that 98% is making cash the predominant acceptance token for payments today in the MSME space, MSME space. Now, when you look at sales, majority of the sales sits in a very micro value transaction. So you see transactions ranging from 100 naira to 5,000 naira in that space. Hardly would you say 100,000 naira, a 1 million naira transaction on a daily basis happening in that MSME space today. Funding is a problem as well in that space. So these are all the structures that make up this type of businesses in Nigeria. Access to fund, even when there's access to fund, majority of them do not find the terms and the process comfortable. So they would prefer to get money from other means than follow the institutional process made available to them. Also, another structure that's predominant around this part of the industry is that operationally, a lot of what they do is manual. They go to the markets themselves, they buy what they need to buy, or the things that are produced locally. They interact with the closest vendor around them. Bookkeeping is not very um, um, well kept in that space as it is. The logistics is not easy to do around that place as well, as they expect the customers to come either pick up the items, come to the business locations, or they go to the customers' business locations themselves. Data too is a problem within this space as well. Because everything is mostly manual, bookkeeping, records, these things are not very much kept. And so even access to funds and access to taking better business decisions, you find that this becomes a problem within that space. These 5 make up the segments that we have within the MSME space. Now, I would like to jump into the other part of the slide that talks about the impact on the MSMEs during this period of COVID-19. I just want to again cross-check that you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, because I don't know, for some reason the network has been a bit up and down today. All right, so you find that consumers have reduced their spending to basic things or to top priority things. And so the size of wallet has dropped as well. Now, for a small business within that space, when the size or the basket size or the spending power of have dropped, that impacts the business as well, because their business is more around revenue for the week or for the month or for the day has also been impacted, as customers are not coming to the business locations anymore to buy things as they would love to do that. So access to customer is impacted as well. And if access to customer is impacted, it would then also affect the cash flow and the revenue as well. The buyer's behavior has also changed as well. Nobody wants to trade cash. You see buyers asking people in this space, oh, do you accept digital payments? Are you online? Can I pay you? And if you don't have that option, you lose business. That has been a major impact in their business today. Supply chain as well, access to raw materials, being able to order things to continue to make production to service the clientele has become a problem. Even taking the items to where they need to be delivered to, at some point because of the lockdown, was a big challenge. Production as well, people not being available to come to work to do what they need to do to support the business. Those are the things that has impacted the MSMEs in this period of the COVID period. And of course, bad debt as well. So everybody who has been owing money because people are not being paid, people losing their job, salaries dropping, trade not really happening as it should, debts are not being paid. And if debts are not being paid, cash flows are impacted. All of these are economic impacts that we've seen around the businesses today. And why they are being impacted around the MSMEs is because of the type of business that they run, based on the 5 points I stated earlier. Because they are physical type business where customers need to be spoken to one-on-one, because they trade in a very micro-transaction way, and their business turnaround is a day, 3 days. So all of these are the different impacts that we've seen in the market today. Okay. Right. So what is e-commerce? How would it help these businesses today? Again, I'd just like to confirm that you can hear me before I jump again. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So how will e-commerce help MSMEs? What kind of impact will it have on their business? What is the outlook for such type of businesses in this period and then going forward as well? Because we in payments have noticed these challenges. We in payments are innovatively trying to solve these problems so that people like them with those kind of microtransactions can be consumed into the architecture of payment processing. For those online who may not really understand what e-commerce is, I found this an infographic online and I wanted to share with everyone. So let me see if I can run you through your website or your social media page. The bookstore there are all the things that you sell that you would normally rent a shop to put them in. Now you digitize them and put them online on your website or on your social media page. Customers with their digital payment tokens can come there and look at the items that you have and then buy what you want. So if I called somebody that needed a shoe, but I'm not sure what the guy has, instead of sending me multiple pictures, you can either share his social media page or share his website, and I scan through the items, the shoes that he has or he has made, and I can then order. Now, one of the things that e-commerce comes with is ability to access data. And so people who buy online, you can talk to them even when you are closed and your shop is not operational, because you can talk to them remotely at home, in your car, anywhere you are. So you can provide that 24/7 support online. Your store doesn't close because the internet is 24/7. So at any point in time, anybody feels like buying anything from you, the e-commerce infrastructure allows you to make payment on there. So if you are a small business who is trying to expand and grow, the e-commerce space gives your business the opportunity to remain online 24/7, even when the physical store is closed for business. Now, if you provide a service where items needs to be delivered to people, with today's technology, you can integrate into a logistic company. Some of the services even come already available to you, where you can track the item that has moved from your store to the customer who has made payment and instantly confirm when the customer has received that as well. Now, you can also send notifications to customers because you have their information after they've purchased on your website. You can tell them if they are new arrivals. You can let them know if their stock is out of we're stocking out, or you have new items that they can look at. All of these things make up the entire infrastructure for e-commerce today. So for small businesses, that platform becomes the ideal platform if you want to be more efficient in your business, if you want to grow your business. And I'll talk a bit more around that on the next slide. And so with e-commerce, you can hold on to your phone that you have today, and you can check how much money you're making without moving from where you are seated, without customers even calling you. You can see and track and continue to generate revenue while you're sleeping. Now, one of the things that it also does as well is because there are over 126 million people on the internet, all of these people are potential people in Nigeria that could be your customer. So you will not see your business location, no matter how small your business is, as being restricted to maybe Yaba or maybe Ikeja or maybe somewhere in Obalende, but it's that it can be available to anybody who can do business with you. And one of the good things about it is that the platform allows you to put certain things there that can allow you to track profitability, because now some of this platform comes with accounting package where you can simply manage from a simple point of view your financials for your business. Now you can also do sales online and push out old stock so that you can have an increased inventory turnaround time as a small business. That is very good for small businesses because it allows them to either pay off the little loan they've collected and also be able to continue to trade as well. When a customer is not happy, that customer can immediately tell you. So these are some of the success of coming online, because you can now have more overview of your business at every given time. Okay. So what is e-commerce today? I mean, there's been a lot of innovations that has happened in the last 5 years. Of course, with the likes of Flutterwaves and Paystack also coming on board as well. And much appreciated this innovation, as it has also helped a lot of more businesses see the use case for them to also come online and digitize their business. We've seen a huge increase, between 10 to 15% of new businesses coming online. And within the last 3 months, that's a major increase in the industry today, as we see. Usually the growth rate is about 1 to 3% month on month as we go. But 10 to 15%, it's a huge growth that we've seen. And that shows that a lot of business who have come online and have enabled their businesses to run online have seen benefits in doing that at this period. So I'd like to run through these 10 things. So for those who are listening and who are considering trying to come online, right, you can make your business appear 24 hours every day. Your posts on social media can now be enabled for payment. So even if you don't have a website today and you don't have an online catalog today, you can use your social media like Instagram, like your Facebook, like your Twitter. There are now means in which we can enable payment through the payment link that most people have today. So somebody can go online and say, oh, I like this item. Can I buy? You can have a small icon there that's a payment link, and the person can click on there and then have the opportunity to pay for that item. 3, okay, I've mentioned number 3. Number 4, you can issue invoices and track your invoice. That's one thing that it's not very prevalent in that space today, tracking sales record, keeping sales record for future references and taking better decisions. Most online e-commerce websites today or gateways today provide the ability to generate invoice and track your invoice. Now, another interesting thing is even if you sell to people on credit, you can now set up recurring revenue, recurring billing, where somebody who has paid you 10,000, who's supposed to pay you 10,000 naira, is saying, "Oh, I would like to pay 3 times." It's okay. So make the first 5,000, the next 3,000, the next 2,000. Now there are platforms today from an e-commerce perspective that allows you to set that up. So at the end of the month, the system just collects your money for you, and then you don't have to worry about forgetting who owes you money. And no matter how small your business is, these tools are essential to making your business profitable today. Now, not just the seller is available online, suppliers too. Now, one of the things that e-commerce does to you is that it makes it competitive for you to buy cheaper items because you have access to more suppliers. So the one man who would bring things to your shop and give you a quote, you can go online and see various prices and take better business decision on where to buy. and what to buy and what margin you can gain from that as well. Another interesting part about the e-commerce today is that there are no setup costs. So nobody's going to give you a big bill to say, come online and pay this big amount of money. It's free to come online. And what is interesting about that is you only pay a fee when a sale happens. So for every sale that happens, you can factor in that transaction cost to the margin that you make in your business. So again, that helps your business to become better with cash flow as well. For those who have items, we have storefronts now that allows you to manage your inventory so that you're able to track and manage your inventory as you go along. And of course, I talked about the financial part as well. All right, so again, just to validate, can everyone hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. All right, so why should you consider e-commerce during this period? We've mentioned that in many parts of my conversation. The fact that you can access the 126 million people who use the internet today, the fact that there are restrictions and curfews still existing in Nigeria, and a lot of people are working remotely, and so they don't want to engage you physically. The fact that the payment industry is responsive to this market need and innovations are rapidly going on to support businesses online. So the experience you would have 4 or 5 years ago definitely not be the experience that you have today, right? It's free to come on board and it's easy to get activated within 24 hours. So more and more people who were skeptical about shopping online are becoming more tolerant of it. Now they can't move. So they try little transactions, they successfully get value, and so they're encouraged to do more online. We've seen the boom of the logistic companies today, and they are becoming better because now they know that it is their time based on the movement restrictions. So operations are better, fulfillment have become more successful. In fact, we've seen about 97% success rate in fulfillment in the last 3 months compared to before. And that's a good indication that the market is just going in the right direction. Printing cost is cheaper. You don't have a store to pay for. Your items you can remove and upload anytime you want. People can prepay for items before you even start production. So that way you manage your costs as well. Government policies today are making it better for consumers and merchants to sell online. Just a few weeks ago, policy was released by CBN to encourage the payment gateway providers to settle the customer's dispute, if there's any, within 24 hours or within 48 hours. And before it used to be 1 week. So again, policies are supporting businesses who would like to go online and have access to this pool of opportunities. Okay, then finally, people are spending more time online. And so I'm on Instagram, on Twitter, I'm browsing through the websites of other businesses because of the links I've received. So because I'm at home and I'm working from home, you find that there are more people, about 40% even more usage of data has been reported. So you have more people online. And so this is the best time to consider thinking about moving, no matter how small your business is, to an online platform that would allow you to scale as you would love to. Okay, my last 2 slides, talking about why that would be more effective for you. So one, it would be that you can change your price, you can change your product, you can present your services with ease. That makes it all efficient than you managing a physical store. The second point here is that you can reach your customers better. You can interact with them more efficiently and instantly. You can take orders faster. You can give feedback and take feedback faster. You are better in control of your business from anywhere you are, at any time that you are, from any device that you want to manage your business. You can do that. You have more access to vendors so that they are able to continue to support your production plans or your service delivery plans as a business. And the most important one is that because we have access to data, little businesses can take better decisions on even on lending, on raising funds or pricing because data has become available. And finally, How does this support your growth plan? One thing is your location is no longer a restriction. So now you can be in Lagos and sell to people in Abuja, and the delivery company can deliver that. You can sell to people in Ibadan. You can go into a community of people that you know and talk to them about your products and services online than going to a community of people in a big landscape to do that. So you can reach more people online to generate your leads and then grow your business as well. Your products can reach far and wide. Before, your products are showcased on a street and only the limited number of people who walk that street would see it. But now it's to the world. And so as much as you want to grow, the e-commerce environment supports that. And finally, partnerships and cross-selling is easier now. If you sell beans, you can find somebody who sells bread from a more comical point of view, for the pictures we see around social media. So now you can partner with people who have products that complement yours and can cross-sell online easily without any form of meetings or contracts or things in place through your platforms today. So it's never a bad time to come online. In fact, this is the right time for any small business in Nigeria today to begin to consider how to transition from just having a physical store to an online store as well. And that's the end of my slide.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey, for your time and your presentation. In summary, basically, it appears to be an exciting time for both small, medium businesses who, prior to this period, are not conducting their business online, or who have their business with physical interaction to be bringing their business into the cloud or into an online or digitized format. Basically, from your discussion, we've got about 120 million people who are actively, doing one thing or the other on the internet, and these are pool of prospects, like it's being called in a sales environment, that small businesses can interact with the possibility of completing a sale. And with the e-commerce platform for business, it gives them an opportunity basically for these businesses to be present even when other stores are closed. So buyers can still play very late in the night or very early, or whenever it's convenient for them. They can make requests, initiate an order, make payments, delivery is processed, and above all, it gives the owner or the business owner or the entrepreneur the sense and the ability to be able to track from a client or a customer placing an order all the way to delivery and confirming that transaction has been closed when payment is received. And one of the inciting things that came out from your presentation is that businesses who prior to this period weren't using an online platform or an e-commerce platform and have now gone into an e-commerce platform for the COVID-19 period has really grown. So we're beginning to see more tractions of companies driving their business online. So it's important for all our attendees and people who will listen to this presentation after today to understand that e-commerce and the outlook for Nigeria is positive, because 10 to 15% growth has been seen on businesses that are carrying on their business into a digitized format. I want to thank you so much, Jeffrey. If there are questions that our attendees have, I want to encourage them to put it up on the Q&A box. I'll just check. Okay, there's no question at the moment, but there are one or two hands up. I would ask them to please hold on so that we can take the next panelist to make his presentation, and then we can then take multiple questions at the end of the day. So it's important for businesses to take their business online. So Joel, I hope you're getting prepared. And my initial question for you at this point would be, people say e-commerce, online business. Basically, what's the difference between e-commerce in itself and doing an online business? What is that trick? What do you, as Joel, do to lower the barriers for a small roadside business. I have a slide that I'll try and show at the end of the day. A small roadside business, because there's a place here in Nigeria where we call Computer Village. You have so many stores, so many people, so many physical interactions, people moving, just like you see people walking around the whole streets in Johannesburg, you know, every now and then. What can we do to get those businesses operating there to take their business online so that the foot traffic, you know, physical foot traffic can be reduced? With that, I would like to hand over to Joel. As you try to attempt this question, you can then go ahead with your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, great. Cool. Can you guys all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, super. I think I can actually make it full screen. One second. So to answer your question, I think there's probably, like, if we take Nigeria, there's about 10 times as many businesses that have websites, and even more than that, that have online presence with social media than those which are transacting online. So I think that's a pretty clear, like, delineation between saying, like, I'm in business that's online versus I'm transacting online. So I would kind of separate those two. Your second question about, you know, lowering the barrier, I think it's about tools coming around that meet businesses kind of are. And I think that there's a couple of components to that. One is price sensitivity. So Jeffrey kind of mentioned, you know, now there's tools that people can use where they don't have to sign contracts. They don't have to commit to paying monthly fees. They can actually just pay as they grow. And I think that's a huge one for Nigeria. It's a huge one for a lot of developing markets, including South Africa, where I am. And even in the, like, point of sale space, it's been huge in South Africa. Like, companies have come in and brought in affordable devices, but particularly online, you know, tools that make it so people can kind of get started without spending a lot of money. I think that's a really, really big one. The other one is just the ease of, like, you know, for so many people, like I imagine all of us panelists and a lot of the attendees, if you're even here, we're like, we understand technology, we're on a Zoom call or on YouTube, like, we know how to do things, but, you know, there's still a lot of people that just don't understand these concepts, and even simple tools are complicated for people, and they're afraid. So I think there's still a big component of just, like, helping people get over that technical hurdle of, like, getting comfortable doing this themselves. And fortunately, there's tools that are coming around that make it much easier, because yeah, I mean, even when I worked at WooCommerce, for example, I had a friend or family that would say, I want to build a store, you know, should I use this tool? Sometimes I'd have to tell them, like, it's not that easy. Like, I didn't want to make it sound too easy. I would say, like, you might want to try something else. So that's just the reality of the situation. So I'll move to my my presentation now. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. I'm Joel. I'm based in very, very rainy Cape Town. It's very rainy and windy here. Winter's hitting us now. I work at Paystack. I've been there since, I think, September of last year. So relatively new, but I'm heading up partnerships at Paystack. Here's like, I did this weird thing and made my history of what I've done in e-commerce into emojis. You can hear I'm not South African. I'm originally from California. Growing up, I got really into e-commerce with eBay. I was like a power seller selling stuff on eBay when, like, the internet was still on dial-up and all these things. And saw firsthand how, like, things like PayPal changed the way people paid for things. And so I've always been kind of part of that. When I finished university, I moved to South Africa to do nonprofit work. I worked at a nonprofit for a year. I fell in love, I got married, and then tried to figure out how to make money and started some online stores using WooCommerce and WordPress. Ended up getting a job at WooCommerce. I think I mentioned I got married. We moved to the UK. I decided to jump over and work at Shopify for a couple of years. During that time, I met Shola and Paystack, and we worked together to do this project where we made Paystack the first payment provider for people that wanted to use Shopify. So at that point, there was like 0 stores on Shopify in Nigeria. And we did this big kind of launch back in 2016 with Paystack. and, you know, and tried to see what kind of interest we could stir up in Nigeria for Shopify. Flash forward to last year, I moved back to South Africa, back to Cape Town, and was doing consulting. Shola and I started talking again about expansion to other countries and things like that. And he flew me up to Lagos. I thought I was gonna pitch him on consulting, and then I ended up taking a job at Paystack. So that kind of brings us to now. And I've got to spend a lot more time in Lagos and in West Africa in general since my time in Paystack, and it's been really amazing. So today I'm going to talk through e-commerce. Jeffrey did an awesome job going into some more detail that I'm not going to cover. So I'm really glad that he did. I'm going to keep it pretty high level, but I'm really happy to answer questions afterwards. I want to start off with just the fact that there's nowhere in the world where e-commerce is growing as quickly as it is in Africa. That doesn't mean that the world cares about Africa in terms of e-commerce, though, because it's still really in its infancy. If you look at platforms like Shopify, you know, my role there, I was actually like probably the most senior person that looked after Africa, but I could only allocate maybe 1% of my time to Africa. And, you know, a lot of the global e-commerce platforms are still really focused on North America and maybe some expansion things into Europe and Asia. So Africa often gets neglected. And so that's part of what when I say I'm passionate about e-commerce, I think it's trying to make a case for it with some of these platforms and just trying to figure out what we can do on our own as well, like without having to rely on some of these other platforms for e-commerce. So I'm just gonna share a quick little chart here on Nigeria. So I use a tool called BuiltWith that helps me track technology trends. And so you see kind of a steep curve the last few years. So really, if we go back to 2012, it's not that long ago, 8 years, Nigeria had like hundreds of stores, and most of those stores were bigger companies, you know, that were like launching their online presence. In the last 2 years, really, we've seen Nigeria's number of stores doubling. And as Jeffrey mentioned in his presentation, I'll share my next slide. What's happened during COVID is really, really profound and interesting. And there's not a lot of people like talking about it, which is interesting. So I guess before I go there, Paystack, when the company started in 2016, according to the numbers reported by the regulators, Paystack itself now does 4 times as much digital payments as the entire country was doing in the beginning of 2016. So that's not to say Paystack is running the show. It's just a reflection of how much the ecosystem for digital payments has gone absolutely nuts in Nigeria, between InterSwitch, Flutterwave, all these different players just driving this thing forward. So it's really, I mentioned that just because it's not like number of sites and stores isn't the only metric. I mean, I think the volume of payments is maybe even a better reflection of like what's happening in the country. But in terms of COVID-19, you saw the last slide, you know, last year, Nigeria grew by more or less, let's take a look here. I can't actually see, okay. But I think more or less grew by a little bit less than 3,000 sites. Since April alone, so in the last 2 months, it's almost done as much growth as the entirety of last year. So most of this isn't a reflection of all of the platforms, but you can see very clearly from the 6 platforms I've identified here, WordPress with WooCommerce is accounting for almost all of the growth. I think within that group, because it's the most affordable solution, there's a lot of like sites that probably aren't that big and not that active. Whereas if we were to look at Magento and Shopify, we'd probably find more established businesses. So the numbers are a little bit misleading here, but this just gives you an idea of what people in Nigeria are choosing for their technology. So why, and Jeffrey talked a little bit about this, why is digital payments and selling online important for a business? So if you're a business, why do you care about all of this? And I think he touched on some really great points. I mean, a lot of the things around you're open 24 hours, you have control over all these things. That's all true. I think what a lot of people, if you have just a brick and mortar store, you're oftentimes like serving your community or like your immediate area. And I think with e-commerce, you suddenly are discoverable in a, you know, entire province, entire country, potentially the whole globe, depending on how you're strategizing. So the idea that you can be found, you know, the idea that someone can go on Google and search for whatever you're selling, shoes in Lagos or in Lekki, whatever, and actually click on shopping and like get a, like if you're selling similar stuff as other people, get comparisons and things like that. I mean, it's really interesting. And the idea that you can find this whole new channel of customers, whether it's on Instagram through discoverability or through blogging on different keywords, or if it's Pinterest or YouTube, whatever strategies you want to implement, you can find new pockets of customers in new regions or in new places. And as mentioned by both Magnus and Jeff, it's cheaper and more powerful than ever. So part of that chart of growth from 2012 till now is the fact that you have local hosting companies, you have new integrations into technology. And so what would have cost you literally maybe tens of thousands of dollars 10 years ago, you can now get for $20 a month, right? So, and it's getting even cheaper. Like, I don't think it's going to get more expensive. It's getting cheaper. And then the data-driven aspect, kind of what I alluded to with the YouTube and Instagram things. You know, if you think of like like a funnel, hopefully you guys know what a sales funnel is, but you have traffic, you have people that come to your website or come to your Instagram or whatever. And then you're trying to get them to do something. What are you trying to get them to do? Maybe look at your products, maybe sign up for your newsletter, whatever it is. You can decide as a company, you can get access to all of this stuff through like Google Analytics and a lot of other tools, and decide where you want to focus. Do you want to try and get more traffic? Do you want to try to convert better? Do you want to take your existing customers and see if you can get them to buy something from you again? So having that kind of insight into what's happening with your business is something really, really special that happens on the web. So yeah, we can talk more about that later. And then why it doesn't matter. I think the competitive landscape is going to get tougher. So we're kind of like selling the opportunity, like, yeah, get online. But the reality is, if you don't get online, your competitor might get online. Or if you're selling something that someone can get on a marketplace like Jumia or somewhere else, like, you know, they might end up buying it there. So what can you do about that? Well, you can, you know, whatever, if you have a store, if you have whatever, create a great experience, have great products, be competitive on price, but also build your digital presence and build your user base on the internet, you know, so that essentially you are competing against these marketplaces and things. And I don't want to paint them just as the bad guy, because they're really not. I think Amazon, Jumia in South Africa, Take-A-Lot, Conga, all of these different marketplaces have played a huge role in getting people comfortable with shopping online, right? Like, a lot of people will make their first purchase from a really large marketplace. Like, my parents only shop on Amazon because they're still scared to shop other places. But like, you know, so it's a great way for people to start getting comfortable with the idea of digital payments. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, no one's the bad guy here. So coming back to the platforms and kind of where different e-commerce solutions fit in. And this isn't comprehensive. I didn't add all of them, but if I think of Nigeria, I think WordPress, Shopify, Magento are kind of the three main platforms people would choose at present, unless I'm missing something big, aside from all of the people just selling on social media and using other tools. So I kind of broke this down into 4 sections, and this might differ a little bit from the definitions Magnus gave, but when I think of e-commerce, you're often talking about like pre-commerce, someone that's not online, micro merchant, SME, mid-market, high growth, and enterprise bundled into one. So I tried to create a chart here of like what stage the business is in, and then going up, it's how easy something is to use and where the solutions tend to fit. So Magento tends to be the platform that a big, giant retailer or wholesaler or company that has tons of SKUs, lots of locations, uses an ERP. It's not an easy plug-in, like, it's not easy to build. You're probably not going to build it yourself. You're going to probably find an agency to do it for you. And it's not that cheap when all is said and done. So that's Magento. Shopify is $29 a month starting. So forgive me, I don't know what that is in Naira, but it's pretty expensive. In addition to that, they charge some transaction fees on top of what you would pay to Paystack or whoever else. So it's probably the most powerful, easy to use solution that's like innovating like crazy, connections to Facebook and Instagram, and just like a really, really great product, but it's pretty expensive in the context of Africa and Nigeria. And so it's not, like you saw the numbers, it's not wildly popular, although it is growing pretty fast. WordPress with WooCommerce tends to be, like you saw, has way more stores than anyone else. And I think it's driven by the fact that a lot of local agencies and developers and freelancers love WordPress because there's so much free stuff. There's so many themes. You can get, you can get hosting really affordably. And you don't pay any transaction fees. And so you can customize it. So it's a great solution. But like I said earlier, if you're not super technical, you're not comfortable with like kind of building something, like it's not easy. I wouldn't sell it as something that's easy. And then going even further to the left, you have people that are just on social media now. And with Paystack and other solutions, we have these things that are like, we have payment pages and product links for Paystack where someone can just list their products on Instagram, have people contact them on WhatsApp, and then send them a link to pay. And there's thousands and thousands of merchants doing that in Nigeria. At some point, most of them reach this phase where they're like, okay, we need a website. Like, we need to take this further because it's not really, they're missing a lot of like the data. They're not able to be as discovered as easy. So a lot of them then, build a website. And so for a simple website, Wix and WordPress are both pretty popular. And Wix, hopefully soon we'll have some payment options in Nigeria because it's quite a bit more affordable than Shopify. So yeah, I'm not, like I said, this is not comprehensive. There's other solutions that I know I've left out, but hopefully this just gives you an idea of like how this landscape looks. This is a bit of a breakdown, and Magnus, hopefully I can get you these slides to share with attendees and stuff afterwards, because this is too much to digest in a short amount of time. But I've kind of broken down the way I see a lot of these solutions in terms of how easy they are to use, how well they are connected to social media, how much they cost, if there's local apps and help as in finding someone. Like, I'm using Shopify in Nigeria. Can I find someone, if I hit a wall, can I find someone in Nigeria to help me design it, tweak it, whatever? Is it scalable? So is it gonna break if I suddenly at Christmas time or whatever, do 100x my traffic and 100x my sales? Is it gonna break? And can I get support? Can I get on a call with someone or email someone or chat with someone that can help me right away? So lots of things to consider when you're choosing a platform. And I've kind of broken this down. I'm not going to go into it a ton right now, but we can hopefully share this afterwards. So I just wrote out some questions of things I think people should think about when they're choosing to sell online. So first one is, what do you need? Because a lot of times you're going to Google whatever, you're going to talk to a professional, and they're going to tell you that you need a custom site, you need this and that, so you need to figure out, what exactly do I need? And if you don't know what you need, then you probably should do some more research and talk to someone. But do you need to sell subscriptions? Are you going to do bookings for time? Do you need a catalog of products? Some of those things, like, just need to think through them a little bit. And how much traffic are you expecting, and how big is your catalog? So like I mentioned, if you've got thousands of products, you're going to need something that's more powerful and more customizable. So, you might not want to use something more basic, Shopify can handle a huge catalog, but something like Magento is made for that, like, massive scale. And then, are you going to build the site yourself? Are you going to go through it yourself? If you are, and you're not super technical, then you definitely want to go with a Shopify or a Wix or one of those Equid, like one of these kind of more simple drag and drop kind of tools. Do I want to manage the website myself? If not, can I afford to hire someone? So no matter what tool you use, you got to decide, like, do you have the capacity to handle the website? Otherwise you got to hire someone, and there's people you can hire in Nigeria of all different costs. Obviously that can be a tricky process, like just finding the right people at the right price. So I would highly recommend talking to other people that have gone through the process like this to get their advice on someone they trust. Because it's like, you can go to one person and they'll say it's 100,000 naira, another person will say 10 million. Like, it's all over the place with pricing. So you need to talk to other people to get advice within your budget. And then my last question was, if all your e-commerce dreams come true, do you want to be able to sleep easy during the holiday season? So that question is basically, if you were to achieve the ultimate dream of like doing tens, hundreds of millions of naira with your e-commerce site, like, is it set up that it won't break? And I think that's where the whole world, most of the world, I should say, especially in Europe and States and Asia for that matter, are moving more towards solutions that are SaaS-based, like your Shopify's, your BigCommerces and your Squarespaces and Wixes, because it's not on you to like build something custom. And it's not like if your site on WooCommerce breaks, you don't actually know if it's your site or your hosting company or something. It's like, it's a lot of different factors. Whereas if your site breaks on Shopify, you can talk to Shopify, but like it's completely scalable. So those are some things to think about. Quickly getting started with payments. So with Paystack anyways, you can sign up. It's free. It takes 15 minutes to get activated once you upload some of your docs. Within Paystack, you have access to look at your data and which transactions are failing or succeeding, how much time people spent to check out. You can get insights into all of that. You can turn on and off payment options. And then you can decide, if you're just taking payments from social media, you can set up these payment pages with custom URLs, Paystack / whatever URL you want to choose. You actually can upload images of products on there if you want to do that. Or you can use, if you're using WooCommerce or Shopify or any of those, the setup process differs from each one, but we have documents that kind of walk you through copying some of your credentials, your keys within Paystack, and then putting them in the right place when you're setting up your store to connect the two. So really straightforward. One of the questions Magnus asked me to answer is just how to get more people to use digital payments. And I think it's not a really easy one to answer, because I know in Nigeria from talking to a lot of merchants that this is a big struggle. So I first wanted to say, I think it will just take time and a collection of things. More people kind of pushing this digital payments agenda will help. Marketplaces like Jumia will help. But also, like, people just need to also see the value for themselves. Like, personally, I like paying with card because if something goes wrong, I can go to my bank or card company and say like, hey, they didn't deliver, and I can get my money back. So I see the value in it. But I think for a lot of people, they still just fear details being stolen or things like that. So it's going to take time. COVID-19, as we've talked about, has really made some changes here. One being like the reluctancy to handle cash and how that could spread the virus, but also just people not being able to do business in person as much, or wanting to stay home to be safe and buying things online, or even seeing some of the grocery stores like Spar and others get online, for the first time to offer these online stores. So all that's kind of pushing digital payments forward. But I think the main thing for you, if you want people to accept payments, is you have to build trust. You've got to create an experience for them when they come to your site, and when they do interact with you on your site, that makes them feel like they trust you. Use logos like Paystack or whoever your payment provider is to like show the trusted source. Things like that certainly will help. I've seen some merchants in Nigeria incentivizing their customers to pay digitally, so offering a slight discount to pay digitally, because the cost of like cash on delivery and going there and them not paying is so high that offering 5% off the product to get them to pay with digital payments actually helps. And then the last one, which is I've seen happen more and more, but it's not the norm, is to just accept digital payments, like, and and cash on delivery for the time being. So, you know, some merchants have moved to that model, but I suppose that's a little bit aggressive given how many people still want to pay with cash. So yeah, those are my thoughts on how to get people to use digital payments. But the first answer I gave is the main one. Like, it's going to take time. People need to see the value in it. People need to trust, and I think like Paystack as a brand, even, you know, it's probably not that normal for a payment company to have to do this, but like part of our mission, we've put up like billboards in Lagos and things like that to get people to know our brand, not just so they choose to take payments with Paystack, but so that people would also trust, you know, us to pay on merchants that are using Paystack for payment sites and apps and all those things. So there's a lot of work to be done there by the payments ecosystem as a whole. So that's it. Hopefully that was helpful in terms of understanding e-commerce platforms and just getting everyone a little excited about the change that's happening in Nigeria and in the world. If you guys want to follow me or get in touch, those are the best ways to do it.
Thank you very much, Joel, for your insightful presentation. And from the discussion or presentation you've made, we gather that Africa, it's growing fast in the adoption of e-commerce platform, even though we do tend to be neglected, as it were, in the well-developed countries, but we will get there. And importantly, Nigeria as well is gaining more presence with increased number. I mean, again, coming from your presentation and that of Jeff, we're beginning to see more traction in the outlook or in the large space of businesses in Nigeria taking their business, you know, online or digital. And I dare say into the cloud, because that's my own interpretation of getting your business digital. And highlighted from your presentation that there are some, you know, notable e-commerce platforms that are available in Nigeria, and you've tried to segment them along the class or category or type of business, depending on the complexity of that business operation. So for the big or the large firms, they tend to go with Magento, WooCommerce, you know, for relatively medium, then Shopify for the small, you know, to the medium large business. And you tend to highlight the importance that you do need a platform. So obviously, with the likes of Paystack and some other digital payment platforms, they can then pick information from social media or send the necessary link to customers to effect payment. But as that business transaction or complexity grows, we tend to begin to see the need for people to have a proper website so that the interactions between the customer, you know, the platform and the business owner or entrepreneur, as it were, is a bit more seamless. Thank you very much. And with that note, I haven't seen, and I'm sure the questions will be tickling in, and I trust that Vivian is just assisting us with that. Our next presentation will be picking up from where Joel has stopped, and we will be bringing in Kartik to come in right now. Kartik Raichura is the CEO for Website Inc. And graciously today, he's giving us VM Professional Solution a handful of business tools. So we will be doling out 10 websites. So as you've heard from the presentation of Joel today, depending on the complexity of your business, you can use social media to facilitate some trade. And after a time, depending on the number of transactions, you then need a website. And we're saying to you guys that are listening to us right now, that you have the opportunity to be a website platform. So it is not free for 1 year, but we're going to be giving you a 60 days free trial, and VM Professional Solutions will be working with any one of our attendees who've been, so we're doling out 10 websites in today's webinar, and any of our attendees who win that would have consulting support from VM to make sure that that platform is utilized. So Katik, you've heard Joel and his views with regards to social media, digital payment, the need to have websites. I dare say to you, why would we not just go all out and tell small, both the micro business who operates from the comfort of their home to come on board and use a website, or even the large businesses or small businesses who are operating but not really registered, because most businesses, like the numbers we told out, we've got about 41 million registered MSMEs. I dare say that there are more than double of that amount running around the entire Nigerian business environment that haven't been registered and may not have an online presence. So from your perspective, with your interaction, one of the things you've made me realize over the couple of months we've been interacting is that your role is to help identify, businesses that are unknown, and you help them become known to the extent that they become global. So how are we as VM Professional Solutions, in conjunction with our attendees at today's webinar, will be able to partner with you so that their business can now be known and can operate digital?
So Magnus, thank you so much for giving the opportunity to address Nigeria. Nigeria and Nigerians have loved our platform, and it's a great honor to be present over here and to listen to the thoughts of Jeffrey and Joel. Joel, so Jeffrey had some very interesting, presentation, and he dived really deep into things. And Joel had more of a high level, understanding. Gave us a high level understanding of things, right? And so that puts me, thinking, what is it that I should be talking about, right? So then I've decided that I'll keep this presentation very general in nature, right? So fortunately, I have answered your question in my presentation. So I request you to let me share my screen and we can take this forward. Yes, are you able to check out my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Awesome. Okay. So the topic today is going digital Nigeria, and we are talking about e-commerce outlook for Nigerian MSMEs, right? The question that Magnus asked is how can all the business owners that are over here, right, in the present day, who are attendees, as well as Nigerian people who are going to be taking a look at this webinar later, or in consultation with VIM, how are they going to be able to get their business and maybe in the next presentations that you do, you will also allow some sites.co.in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a small video for you guys, which is say near about a minute or so, which explains what our platform websites.co.in does.
Want to create a business website? Don't know where to begin? How about getting your business online in, say, 15 minutes? Sounds like some kind of magic, right? Try websites.co.in. It's the world's easiest website builder. Our website works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for your business and helps you get visibility online, attract new customers, grow your business online, get your online store live in minutes, sell your products online, upload unlimited products easily and instantly, and More importantly, our website always ranks better on search engines. For our service, you can get free domain name, free hosting, free SSL certificate, unlimited updates, unlimited photos, unlimited product listings, e-commerce functionality, get business inquiries, get business statistics, get business alerts, powerful auto SEO, unlimited SEO keywords optimizations, easy auto social media, geotagging, corporate email ID. Get online in 15 minutes. Update your website on the go. Your website gets you business even when you sleep. Start today with a 30 days risk-free trial. No credit card required. It's so easy that anyone can do it. Visit websites.co.in to get started. Or download the app now from Google Play Store and iTunes. Make the internet work for you.
So as you can see, right, I mean, the promise is that you will make your website in less than 15 minutes. And a lot of people will think that it might be complicated, right? Can I do it or not? I will tell you that there are currently 500,000 businesses all over the world from more than 200 countries who are creating their website on our websites.co.in platform, and they can do it in their own language. So what I'll share with you is a very quick video on if you wanted to create a website on websites.co.in platform, then how do you go about doing it? So there's like this very short video, which will actually help you to understand how your website will be created and how it's magical, or it's very simple for you to do it.
I think you may want to increase the volume. It's somewhat low.
Okay. How about now?
Yeah, it's still very low.
Okay.
Increase from the speakers of your system.
Yeah, I already did that.
Okay,
I think
so
this
just
is
go ahead.
the maximum.
This page would require you to enter the name of your business, category by which your business operates, your city of operation.
You can share the link to this video, and at the end of the presentation, I can send it to the attendees.
Sure.
After pressing Add Details button, you will be taken to this next page where you will have to enter the address of your business.
Maybe you should go ahead with the other part of the presentation.
Yes. So that's it. It's all the time it took to create your website. So you can see over here, it says, hello, your website's dashboard is, welcome to your website dashboard. Your 30 days trial has started and your website actually has gone created. You can check out your website, by clicking on this icon, and you can go and see how your website looks. And depending on the category that your business is in, it looks beautiful. It looks great on all devices. It opens beautifully on mobile phone, tablets, TV screens, small devices, large devices. It's device agnostic. So I think give it a try, and Magnus will definitely be sharing, the gift vouchers so that you can have extended, 1 month subscription after the trial period is over. So let us go ahead with the presentation. So this is the situation that, we all were in. In India, we're still in that situation. I think Nigeria, May is when the lockdown opened up. But this is where, a lot of businesses found themselves, right? I think, so I would personally think of my business as, you know, a horse. And I think of myself as, you know, a jockey that's riding that horse. And, you know, when we are locked down, it seemed that all of us, right, all of us jockeys and all of our horses, all of our businesses were on the starting line, and we were just waiting for the lockdown to open up, right? Some of us might have, you know, strong horses. Some of us might have short horses. Some of us might have fast horses. Some of us might have, you know, horses which are slow. Some of us might have horses which, you know, have a leg broken down or something of that sort, right? And the horses is a metaphor over here for your businesses. But I think, you know, we all were raring to go. We all were waiting for the lockdown to open up, and we all wanted to, you know, run as fast as we can with our businesses, right? But while we were in the lockdown, we were contemplating, we were thinking about what are the kind of things that we are going to do once the lockdown opens up. And you know, when the lockdown did open up, we all started running. But it's very important to realize that while you're running, right, when lockdown opens up, it is very important that you keep your eyes and ears, because you know what opportunities you might be having or you might be missing out on because of the lockdown and because of the consumer behavior patterns that change during the lockdown period. So, you know, a lot of people have made memes out of this. And, you know, the question is, who led the digital transformation of your company? Was it your CEO? Was it, you know, the business owner? Was it you? Was it your chief technology officer? And the correct answer over here is, you know, it's COVID-19. COVID-19 all over the world has had a significant impact on all businesses, micro, small, medium, large. Everyone had to rethink, reimagine the way they conducted business and had to do a digital transformation of their companies. So this is an article that I, you know, saw in Quartz, Africa, and it says, you know, African e-commerce is getting a much needed boost from coronavirus lockdowns. I think Africa as a nation, or, you know, even Nigeria, right, as a nation, is as evident, you know, is growing 10 to 15% in terms of, you know, digitization, from a mere 1 to 2% that was, you know, found earlier. So lockdown really has given an impetus or, you know, boost, and for people to come online and to be very, you know, to do business digitally, right? So this is a photo of Jack Ma. Jack is he stepped down as the, you know, chairman of Alibaba, but he was the founder of Alibaba, which is, and Jack is one of the largest, or the you know, the richest, you know, persons in the world. And this is what he had to say about, you know, the COVID situation. He said that for people in business, 2020 is really just a year for staying alive. Don't even talk about your dreams or plans. Just make sure you stay alive. If you can stay alive, then you would have already made a profit, right? So what is Jack trying to say over here, right? He's trying to say that don't think of, you know, expansion plans. Don't think of, you know, so there's a very simple example, right? I mean, if you've seen the movie Titanic, right? Titanic had to go from point A to point B. That is the purpose of the ship. But when Titanic hit the iceberg, they were not worried about going to from point A to point B. They were worried about just ensuring that the ship stayed afloat. Coronavirus, or COVID-19 as we say it, right, has put us in that situation. And so right now, what really matters is how your business will stay alive. And for your business to stay alive, I think it is imperative for you to take your business online, because that's the only safe way of doing business in this particular pandemic that we are having. So what business are you into, right? That needs some clarity, right? So the first question, so we've heard of high level things, we've heard about detailed things. I'm going to talk about, you know, a little specifics about what business you're in, how to ensure that your business grows. Uh, as business owners, we take our businesses while we rarely have time to introspect. But I think COVID has given us that time to reflect on what business we are in and think deeply. And I think that is a very important thought. So you might say that I'm selling, groceries, or I'm selling this, or I'm selling that. But, you really need to know what business you are in. So to give you an example, right? So Nike doesn't sell shoes. Nike does not manufacture shoes itself. Nike does R&D. Nike has outsourced manufacturing to various manufacturing houses in the world. But so what does Nike stand for? Is Nike selling shoes? How is Nike different from any other shoe that you would buy? Nike doesn't sell shoes. Nike sells a sporty attitude, right? Swiggy is a food delivery, startup in India, which is widely famous. And if you ask what Swiggy does, we don't say that Swiggy sells food. We say that Swiggy sells convenience. The convenience of a customer being able to order from the tap of an app, on an app, on his mobile phone, and the food coming within a stipulated period of time, fresh and tasty, at his doorstep, right? In a hygienic condition. That is what Swiggy is selling. It's not selling food, it's selling convenience. So Book My Show is, a startup in India, which is widely popular for movie tickets, right? So if you want to go to go watch a movie in a theater, in a cinema, then you don't go to the cinema and buy the ticket physically. What you do is you buy the ticket on the Book My Show app, online. And so Book My Show doesn't sell tickets, right? It sells me the convenience that I can book the ticket for a movie which I want to see at the convenience of my own home without requiring to go over there and stand in queue and waste my time over there, right? It also allows me to know whether the show is already full in the cinema hall, or do they have some empty seats which I could buy. So you've heard of this phrase, right? You're not afraid of the dark, right? You're afraid of what is inside that darkness. You're not afraid of heights. What you're really afraid of is falling. Like if you look at Coke, right? Coca-Cola doesn't quench thirst, right? I mean, there's mineral water, there's regular water, there's soda, there's so many other things that you can quench your thirst with. But why is Coca-Cola one of the largest selling brands in the world? That is because it says it sells happiness. All the communications that they have, all the marketing that they have, everything that you're talking about says that they're selling happiness. So what is that magic in your business, right? What is that fear of missing out for your business? What's your business selling, right? And once you realize what your business is into selling, you will also realize who will buy what you're selling, right? And that's very important for business owners, for micro business owners, right? It's very important to realize what business you're in and who your customer is. What is your go-to-market strategy, right? So this is a very technical term, but in simple sense, it means, how are you going to sell? So in this COVID situation, it's very important to have that visibility, right? Are you visible? Is your business known, right? Do you have a website for your business? And if you have a website for your business, does it rank on Google when a person is searching for your products or services? Just having a website doesn't really matter these days. What really matters is that you also have smart website, which has auto search engine optimization capabilities. So you don't have to worry about hiring someone who will create a website for you and then rank your business. Today there are these SaaS products that everyone's talking about, and websites.com is one of them. And so you really have to understand that if you already have a website, does it rank? Does it rank on Google when people are searching for your products and services? Do you have one website? Why don't you have like 200 websites, right? Why do you have only one website? Because there might be various, segments. So there might be various, geographies that you would want to target. And maybe that one website is not going to be helpful to target all of them. So the question over here is that, right now, maybe, you're thinking that, one website is enough, but you don't really know how many people are coming on your website, whether it's ranking on Google or not. Now imagine the other way around, that you have website, not more than one website, that that your website is ranking on Google when people are searching for your products and services. And not just that, you, with success of one website, you create another, you can create another, you created multiple websites which are ranking now on multiple keywords. And there's like hordes of customers which are now coming to your business asking for your products and services. And that's the beauty of going digital, right? That you really want your website, or you really want your business to be visible across the globe or across cities and states in your country, right? Another question that you have to consider is, say, maybe think that, a person who is in China, he's looking for, products and services in Nigeria. Can your, a Chinese buyer read your website in Chinese? Like, I reached out to Magnus when I was searching for things in Nigeria. So, thankfully, we are grateful to the internet. We're grateful to websites for, me and Magnus connecting with each other and becoming good friends now. So that's how businesses work, right? I mean, now we're connected, now we're doing business together, and there's growth for both of us. So you, with your business, would also want people to notice what you're doing, right? And that can only happen when you have a website or when you have visibility online. Now, assume that you have, your business has 100 customers a year, right? And that's from Nigeria, or that's from Lagos, right? Or that's from Abuja. What will be your growth rate if you got one more customer, just one more customer from all the 200 countries that are there in this world this year? What is going to be the growth rate? Just, if you can open your mind and imagine that. So you have to understand what is the value of each contract for you. If you have 100 customers that are coming from Nigeria, what is the value of that contract? What is the kind of money that they're going to pay you? And if you had, 200 more customers, one from different parts of the world, what is that contract value for you? And then you do some backward calculations and you think, is the cost of having a digital presence more or less than the cost of acquiring that one customer from that one foreign nation, right? And if that cost is less, right? If the cost of acquiring that one customer is less than the cost of having digital presence, then you should not think about expanding. But if it's more, then you should definitely go ahead and do that. Here's this case study that I want to share with you, right? The case study is of websites.co.in. Founder is me. I started this in 2017, and I slogged as a sales executive to get meetings for customers offline. I went to, various business owners, met them, offline, met them at their offices, tried to pitch, websites.co.in product to them, made them understand the value of, coming online. And it was very difficult to do that, right? Because now maximum number of people that you can meet in a day would be what? Would be about 1, 5, 10? I don't know, not more than 100, right? But, the beauty of this is that I come from a digital background. So websites.co.in is a digital first company. And so we, had presence online and we were visible in a lot of countries. So one of the persons from a, third world country contacted me and said, hey, Karthik, what you built is fantastic and we can make millions together, right? And I thought maybe, it's a scam or something. But then I said, hey, why not just speak with them? And so I got on the phone, I spoke with the person, and I realized, that there might be something really interesting over there. So, I told them that you just promote websites.co.in and we will give you commission per sale. Now that model really worked out for us, right? And so today we have business owners from more than 200 countries they use it to get their business online, get visibility and grow. And with partners that have approached us from various nations, they get commissions when they, you know, enable a sale for us. So that's how we have today more than 5 million, downloads, 5 million people using websites.co.in. So just imagine the power of that, right? These are the stats, that I could research when I was looking at Nigerian, micro business segment. And what I realized is that there's a great opportunity over there. It's one of the fastest growing countries for internet penetration in the world. Joel rightly put it, saying that it's one of the fastest growing e-commerce hubs in the world. And with the kind of internet usage that you have, right, that's 126 million users. Nigeria is the 6th most internet usage country in the world, and just a decade back it was found nowhere in the top spots, right? So the kind of jump, the kind of growth that Nigeria is having as a country, and the kind of phenomenal opportunity that's there with the Nigerian citizens is amazing. What I've also realized is that 84% of the employment happens through MSMEs, right? And 80% of the total businesses in Nigeria are MSMEs. We as a platform also have more than 32,000 websites created on our platform by Nigerian businesses, and I'm really proud, and I'm really fond, I'm really thankful and grateful for all the love that Nigeria as a country has given our platform. I think Joel, maybe you would want to put this in your slide the next time when you're presenting. That really make us happy. So what are the bottlenecks, right? So when I researched what are the struggles of MSMEs, what are the bottlenecks of MSMEs in Nigeria? One of the largest ones is unavailability of finance, right? It's a very cost intensive. It costs a lot of naira. It costs a lot of money to start a business in Nigeria, right? There's electricity issues, which means that your business might not be able to operate, in the business hours. There are some corruption issues, and then there's this tax rate, transportation, politics, land regulations, etc. So I've put a reference link from where I've got this data. The data might be, not really up to the mark, but that's what I, could find on the internet. But so when you think about businesses, right? When you think about your online business, when your business is online, you don't have to worry about all these bottlenecks. Finance is not that expensive if you want to get your business online. Like Joel mentioned that on a Shopify it would be about $30 that you would have to pay to get a online store set up. But on websites.co.in, we specifically for Nigeria have discounts running. And if you go on the site, you will be able to get your business up and running with a 30 days free trial. And you will be able to go for a paid subscription that will cost you only $12, which in Naira, it would be about, say, 3,500 to 4,000 Naira a month, which doesn't seem to be that expensive. Second thing is electricity issues. But when you have your business online, the beauty of it is that it will stay online and it will work for you 24/7. And you don't have to worry really about electricity issues when your customers show up at your store. Your store is online. It's gonna work seamlessly, right? Corruption issues are also taken care of, right? Because all your business is online. You don't really have to worry about any of those aspects. Everything is seamless. Everything is documented well. Everything is crystal clear. So a lot of these challenges, the main three bottlenecks that are there, where MSMEs struggle, are taken care of if you take your business online. That gives a phenomenal, opportunity for Nigerian businesses. These are common concerns, right? That okay, I want a website, but should I build or should I buy, right? And the answer to that is that if you build it yourself, it's gonna cost you a hell lot of money. And sure, you will have a lot of customization options, but you will also have a lot of maintenance that you'll have to do. So I think for businesses which are small, right, which are micro in nature, which are small in nature, they should opt for, the buy option than the build option. Expense or investment, right? So, I mean, how do you see this, right? It's what matters. If you see that, 3,500, 4,000 naira that you're gonna, you're gonna spend to get your business online, it's an expense, then you might, think that it's a little too, it's pinching you, right? But if you look at it as an investment, which business in the world will allow you to operate at an investment which is that low, right? It's cost effective, right? It's efficient, and if you target it well, right? So as I said, right, you need to really understand what your business is into and who your buyer is, and if you're able to correctly do it, online is an effective and cost efficient way of targeting the right business or targeting the right customers who would want to buy from your business. It's also, one of the things that you have to really consider is that, and I think we're very thankful and grateful that we all are here, talking about, growing your business, getting your business online, or the next step. And we have to be thankful that, COVID did not impact us. We are grateful that, we are all alive and we are thinking about various options in which we will want to grow our business. So going online is, ensures that you stay safe and you save time. You need to really think about, so when people talk about social media as one of the ways to, get your business online, social media is important, but social media does not give you credibility. The kind of credibility you get when your business is online, when you have a business website, right? That really matters. Right? A person is going to first go on Google and type the name of your business and see if you at least have a website which has some information on what your business does. And if that's missing, then create your profile on social media: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, the likes. Put your business on Google Maps. That's very important, because if someone is searching for your business, they want to actually look at the business address. Putting your business on Google Maps gives them that credibility. Get a website developed. That goes without saying, right? This is very important. Update your website regularly with new product launches, answers to customer queries, offers, and things like that, right? Because just having a website which is not updated regularly will not really allow you to fully take advantage of going online. Have e-commerce functionality added to your website. Because what you use a website if you're not able to sell products and services online, right? Or you could just, give websites.co.spin and see if that works out for you. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for your time. And if you want to connect with me, just Google me, know more about me. You can Google me, you can type Karthik Raichura and you'll know a lot more about me. And if you want to talk to me, connect with me, Magnus, my good friend from Nigeria, is there to help us out. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Karthik. It was an insightful presentation. I think at the end of the day, what we as VM Professional Solutions is trying to do is to bring to our attendees and businesses in Nigeria that taking your business to the cloud is very, very important. It's very, very key. And one of such things you can do besides having a social media account is to also have a website. And with our partnership and relationship with websites.co.in, whom Karthik Raichura is the CEO and MD, we're bringing you a platform where you can quickly and easily create your website. And at the same time, this same website you can integrate with other e-commerce platform, and then also add the necessary payment platform, so that as a business owner, you can sit comfortably at your home, even in a lockdown situation like this, and you're still able to transact business. And from our 2 or 3 other, from Jeff and Joel, who have presented earlier, we tend to get a sense that you already have a situation where the delivery chain to complete the delivery cycle on the e-commerce leg is already activated. And you can then monitor from the comfort of your device, that you can then see when a good is ordered, when it is shipped, when it is delivered. when payment is received and money in your bank account and transaction is closed, and you can basically ensure that invoices are done. So, I mean, listening to Kartik, it's important that we all stay alive, and our businesses need to stay alive. One way our business needs to stay alive in this pandemic period is to put our businesses in online, put them on the website. We can't continue to do business in a brick and mortar situation because of the lockdown. Right now in Lagos, we do one day off, one day on, if you know what is happening in the other market venture. You know, another important thing that came from his presentation is, what is your marketing proposal when you go out and tell customers this is what you're doing? So I take heed to say, if I use the Nike example, we all want to buy Nike shoes, Nike this, Nike that. But Nike is actually selling a sporty attitude. So as business owners, we need to ask ourselves, what is our value proposition? So what are we doing? What is the end result of our service or product doing for our users? With that, I want to then welcome our last but one panelist today in person of Mr. Paul to give us insight into taxation. You know, as a small business, I'm not registered, or I'm registered. I carry on business. My business is in the cloud. I don't have an office space, so you cannot tie me to any office. So I've gone to CFP, I've registered my business, and I'm doing my business. And nobody knows where I live. My house is my address, but the only thing you see on my website, I've got a website, it's integrated, payment is made, it comes online. I probably live on Airport Road in Warri, and but you can trace the business to be in Lagos. Basically, we want to hear what tax implications, give us insights into what businesses need to do to ensure that, because what we want to advocate as a professional services firm is that we've got a corporate responsibility and a spiritual mandate to try and make sure that we do the right thing. As citizens of this government, we've got a responsibility to pay tax, the right amount of tax, not more, not less. So we want to give our audience insight as to what they need to do from a tax perspective to ensure that their business is conducted successfully. Thank you very much, Mr. Paul, for joining us today. I yield the floor to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Magnus. I want to appreciate Joel, Jeffrey, and Kartik for laying the foundation. In fact, I think the tax authorities, are you with me? You can hear me? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. I want to appreciate them because they have basically laid the foundation for tax authorities to really know what e-commerce is all about. And it's a good opportunity for me to at least throw some insight into what the tax authorities are expected to do and what the average trader who trades on online should do as well, to be able to, like you said, be conversant with the tax laws and principles. So by way of introduction, I need to say that every government needs revenue, at least to drive its programs. And this revenue can only come from taxes. We know that even the oil revenue that we so much be hammering on is no longer appropriate for the country, not to talk of the different states. And that is why it's enshrined in the Constitution. If you go to the Nigerian Constitution, Section 24, Section F, it especially states that every individual should declare their income to the appropriate and relevant tax authorities and pay their taxes accordingly. And if you stretch it further, you go to Section 3 of the Personal Income Tax Act 2011 as amended, the same thing. It shows that everybody must declare their income. So in accordance with these provisions, individuals and businesses must typically report all income earned during the year and pay tax at the appropriate rates in their place of residence. Like you rightly pointed out, somebody has an online business and resides along the Airport Road in Warri. If he doesn't follow that principle of reporting his business to the tax authority, it becomes difficult for the tax authorities to know. And you know that even the conventional businesses that we know, a lot of them practice tax avoidance, and some even outrightly refuse to pay, which is tax evasion, which is a criminal offense. So tax payment of tax is a civic responsibility, and that is the basis for which I want to drive this process. Now, according to Valdis Dombrovski, going to the digital economy, he said digitalization brings countless benefits and opportunities, but it also requires adjustments to our traditional rules and systems because it's not something that we are really used to. So we need to do some adjustments here and there. Even the tax authorities need to rejig their system and think outside the box to be able to capture these would-be taxpayers who trade online. Yet comes in the internet and its attendant technologies, which have transformed the way the world transacts business. So the internet is very useful, and these persons are using it to run their business. So this transformation has not only made it easier to navigate in ever-increasing global economy, but it has raised the expectations of the customer and the business owners. They say they are becoming familiar with the new capabilities, and they are expecting innovative concepts to be employed in all areas of their life, including tax. So the tax administrators, more than ever before, need to take cognizance of the recent boom in global digital business that has little or no fiscal presence in their domain. So the digital economy is experiencing dramatic growth, like has been stated by the last three speakers. However, many jurisdictions are concerned that their tax systems do not cater well enough to digital economy. Accordingly, revenues are being reduced as a result. If somebody is doing an online business and he has income, and the law says that all earned income is subject to tax, and that income is not declared to the relevant tax authority where he or she resides, of course, that revenue is lost to that tax jurisdiction. But then we need to now go further to say that the tax authorities should still use the same taxation principles that guide conventional commerce to also guide them in relation to electronic commerce. They will not say that because somebody is doing e-commerce, and so there should be new laws to do the assessment. Once the income is declared and all the necessary things considered, then the tax that comes from that these things are appropriately paid to the relevant tax authority. This approach does not preclude new administrative or legislative measures or changes to existing measures relating to electronic commerce, provided that those measures are not intended to impose discriminatory tax treatment of electronic transactions. What I'm trying to say is that because somebody is into e-commerce or business, the important thing is that tax portion of the income that is earned, other income processes follow, then of course the tax will be paid. So getting these messages. But then in the field of tax administration, these are some of the processes that should be followed. You see, taxpayer service. Revenue authorities should make use of their value and harness commercial development in administering their tax system to continuously improve taxpayer service. This will ensure that the system minimizes not compliance, particularly for small to medium-sized enterprises who are really difficult to manifest. We say that the
Go ahead, sir. You're on mute. Unmute your mic and carry on.
Okay, thank you very much. So as I was saying, that the tax administration has to take charge of these activities and ensure that whatever they are doing is captured, especially when it comes to do with the small and medium-sized enterprises. I was about saying that, you know, that this level of businesses, either to before now, had little or nothing to report about, because now that they are using the internet, they are moving forward. And so the relevant different tax authorities should be able to cash in on that to get the needed information to track their income. So the tax administration, identification, and information needs. In this area, revenue authorities should improve and strengthen their ability to secure access to reliable and verifiable information in order to identify taxpayers, especially those that are doing e-commerce, and obtain the information necessary to administer their tax system. Of course, they should adopt conventional identification practices for businesses engaged in electronic commerce. Then taking it further, what about the tax collection and the control mechanisms? So tax authorities should ensure that appropriate systems are in place to control and collect taxes. We don't want a situation where there will be double taxation. If these control measures are not put in place, you know that in a situation where the average taxpayer does not know who the relevant tax authority is, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, be it the local government or even touts, in the guise of revenue contractors who are electronically driven, it becomes difficult for them to do that. So the relevant authorities can now deal with them directly using the appropriate measures. So this can be done by designing appropriate strategies and measures to improve tax compliance with regard to electronic commerce transaction voluntary compliance, because it is germane that compliance level must be very, very high, and it has to be voluntary. That is, they must report their transactions, and in so doing, the relevant tax authority will know who is doing what and at what point. So recently, the tax authorities are beginning to treat the taxpayers' clients, and that has been creating a win-win situation for everybody. So the existence of the internet and its emerging technologies have thrown up some initiatives as a direct result of viewing the taxpayer as a customer. This new perspective offers a whole new approach to tax administration. Therefore, using methods employed by the private sector to better serve their customers has spawned a plethora of new ideas for revenue authorities in dealing with tax presence. So what are these initiatives? First of all, I want to let you know that the initiatives perform the dual function of reducing taxpayer burden and reducing the administration cost of the revenue authorities. Overall, the human and paper elements are being removed and replaced with automated responses and expert systems employing artificial intelligence. Where the human element remains in some clients, efforts are being employed to improve efficiency and empower employees to take actions, which can resolve inquiry or problem at any single point of contact. This will help these businesses to know what authorities, this ongoing interaction. And since the individuals and businesses are used to the digital world, they are best served as follows. One, paper communication to electronic communications. Here, the revenue authorities should introduce processes in their tax administration that use electronic media as a substitute for paper forms and manual methods currently in use in different tax jurisdictions. They can deploy functional programs that permit businesses to file employment tax returns electronically, as well as a program that allows e-filing of individual tax returns. You will agree with me that if an average businessman has the opportunity to file his returns online, it better serves him instead of going to the tax office, especially with the issue of lockdown resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. where persons are restricted, movement are restricted. If this opportunity is there for them to file online, of course, they will gladly take it, and that will help to drive the process. So the use of the internet to provide practitioners, that is the tax practitioners and the taxpayers, the latest in tax-related news and information is very key. If the tax authorities provide a website where these businesses can really go and get understanding of what is expected of them, then it's very, very good. The idea is to leverage access to the site to promote e-filing. They want to comply, but how do they go about it? If this provision is not there, it becomes very difficult because they can't move, they are locked down, and they want to comply. So how do they go about it? If the opportunity is there, then they will take advantage of it. For businesses based upon the entity information, because we have the different business types. So you now tailor these forms to suit them. And those who have prior filing history, if any, can be used to prepare such forms. But where they are not, of course, the tax are well taken care of. Then moving forward, using the pay-as-you-earn system, which electronically withholds the proper amount of taxes from wages, pensions, and public benefit payments. Send a prepared return to the taxpayer to sign. Taxpayer haven't filed, gets a return that this is what is expected of yourself as an individual, or where you have a small SME business and you engage employees. How do you treat their taxes? How are you expected to make those payments to the relevant tax authority? These things should be made clear by the relevant tax authorities. It will help to elicit voluntary compliance. Then another area is the use of checks and cash payments. Though presently we are beginning to move from that, but we still need to emphasize it, that we need to go to electronic funds transfer. By utilizing the technologies developed for retail sales transactions, the customers are used to that anyway, because most of their payments these days are done online because they do online business. So revenue authorities are enabling taxpayers to satisfy their obligations by electronic transmissions because they're already used to it. Now, the revenue authorities will catch on that aspect and ensure that payments are done electronically, not the use of cash or checks. In any case, since they can't leave their business places to go to the relevant tax office to make such payments, or even the banks, then the opportunity for funds transfer is open for them to use. Then we know that the average business person will always approach the tax office to prepare one document or the other, or seek one assistance or the other. But now the lockdown, there's need for persons to have self-help systems put in place. And this will result to self-assessment returns over the internet. If you give them that opportunity, they will self-assess themselves and through the internet furnish you with the returns. So such a software application for the presentation of complex tax rules in an easily accessible format with comprehensive online help will solve that problem. So websites that provide information and help on tax matters to taxpayers are up and doing in their game. In the same way, the various tax offices have tax manuals. These tax manuals should be made available online with interactive question and answers as well, so that when an average taxpayer goes online, they will see these tax manuals and be properly guided on what he or she is expected. And these questions and answers that are put there will equally answer some of the pertinent questions, especially the frequently asked questions by taxpayers should be up there for the individual taxpayers to use. I just say that there's nothing wrong if individual taxpayers and even small businesses can file the returns over the telephone there should be dedicated lines for such in the respective tax districts so that the taxpayer can take advantage of them. In the past, we are talking about manual responses, but with what is happening now, there's need to move to an automated so that the average taxpayer can take advantage of that. So the increased use of artificial intelligence software, centralized call systems, and internet resources to improve service will encourage voluntary compliance. For instance, allowing tax practitioners to resolve their clients' cases via email. If they have issues they want to resolve with the relevant tax authority, they can use an email to furnish the tax office with such information, and they will get a reply accordingly. So the need to now move from one location to another will no longer be there. Then the issue of the taxpayer the private sector has shown us treat their customers. Who banks with all these banks want to avail himself or herself with such opportunities. So a discount of tax paid on returns filed over the internet, as well as incentives for e-filing, should be encouraged by the relevant tax authorities. That is the way to treat the taxpayer as a customer. Then operate more like the private sector. That is, have private sector partnerships to drive the process. Presently, different tax authorities are doing that. They are using companies like InterSwitch to drive their e-payment processes and all that. That kind of partnership should be encouraged. And those are the things that will help the e-commerce persons to file and make their payments through these different avenues. That should engage in aggressive broadening its trade show agenda and launching a business product marketing strategy. I recall that Pratik earlier on talked about marketing strategy. Nothing stops the relevant tax authority to engage in their own business product, showcase what you have to offer to the taxpayer so that they take advantage of such to do the needful. The bottom line is that taxes are paid to government and revenue is generated. So what are the other options that are available relating to taxpayer service and tax administration? So the relevant tax authorities should consider the following to ease the process of taxing electronic commerce. One, revenue authorities should consider requiring that businesses engaged in electronic commerce identify themselves to revenue authorities in a manner that is comparable to the prevailing requirements for businesses engaged in conventional commerce in the country. All conventional businesses are required to file their returns. Same goes for anybody engaged in electronic commerce. But the truth of the matter is that these relevant tax authorities have the wherewithal to receive such online returns. That is a food for thought. They should equally consider engaged in electronic commerce world. The global best practice shows that persons who engage in businesses must identify themselves to the authorities, whether for tax purposes or not, because statistically it helps for planning and other things that are done by the government, so that government will know which area to improve their lot or not. They want equally, the relevant tax authority should equally consider developing internet websites where they don't have, such that information on tax legislation, even rulings on cases, case law, revenue statistics, forms can be viewed and downloaded by the average taxpayer. going forward, they should consider a single email access point for highly mobile taxpayers, like the ones under review. Those engaged in e-commerce, like you said, somebody who is in Warri or Long Airport Road and has a business that transacts up to Lagos because of the nature of his business. If he doesn't have an access point to relieve cost, so they should make the inquiries by email. They should equally consider mechanisms that facilitate tracing for tax purposes of inadequately identified websites and other electronic places of business. This will come about when they partner with relevant businesses that have the technical know-how to be able to do that. That's why that partnership with the private sector is key. They should equally consider making their views on user identity known to other bodies, with a role in determining the identity of parties engaged in electronic commerce. If they relate well with persons who have the knowledge of how to identify persons who engage in e-commerce, then it betters their lot to be able to bring those persons into the tax net, where the persons don't come out on their own to show themselves to the relevant tax authority as required by law anyway. Lastly, consider establishing a special unit to handle the taxation of electronic commerce involving individuals and businesses who do not have physical presence in their jurisdiction. This will help to ensure that the proper thing is done within the tax district. And having said that, I believe forward, we know that the tax authorities have a lot to do to ensure that these persons pay their taxes. But then if we have to go back to our dear constitution, remember section 24F, it is germane that you declare your income to the relevant tax authority from all sources, whether through e-commerce or conventional business. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Paul, for your insights. And just to sort of put some perspective, you're encouraging that all businesses involved in e-commerce need to ensure that they go register and declare themselves to the relevant tax authorities in the state and the area. Yes. And I also get an insight where you're recommending to the tax authorities, amongst other things, to also set up a specific unit to focus on e-commerce tax business. Thank you so much. And Vivian is here to help us pull all of the 4 discussions together in a nutshell before we begin to take some of the few questions that have come in. Vivian?
Okay, thank you, Magnus. Thank you, all our panelists, for the time you've taken, for your patience, and for really coming down and toning down on the language to enable our audience to understand. So, but even then, there are still a lot of technicalities, and unless you are someone who is particularly interested in technology and tools, it's still confusing. You still be afraid, of where do I start from, or how do I approach it? And that fear may stop you from growing and moving forward and taking advantage of opportunities. So for someone like me, I spend significant part of my time studying software tools and how they work and the value they create. It's a topic of interest for me. So unless you're like that, I do not blame you if you're still getting afraid of all the technicalities. So you can always contact us, send an email to clients with an S, clients at vi-m-m.com, clients@vm.com, and we'll help you with your e-commerce or websites or jargons or any confusion or recommendations you may have. So if I may recap, from everything that there are so many amazing things I picked from all the presentations. The first one that struck me was Joel's data on number of stores, number of people who are on the web in Nigeria. 10,300 people, average of 10,300 out of 41.5 million MSMEs. That means there's a huge gap there. Little wonder Africa is not being looked after, because we have also experienced it ourselves when we want to partner with some good accounting software platforms outside of the country. You know, there are lots of restrictions to their functionalities when it comes to Nigeria and Africa. They'll tell you that Africa is not their target market. And, you know, we wondered why for a long time until Joel just clarified it today. So, well, we'll get there. So then something about going online is anyone can come online. You don't have to be a tech person or techie person. Once you want to come online to sell online, technology and trends have made it very easy and very accessible for you and very cost effective. You have so many third-party platforms that you can leverage. You can also build and host your own e-commerce websites. You can use social media, you can use Google tools, you can use Shopify, all the other websites, .co.in, GoDaddy, a whole number of them are there. You can use YouTube to sell. So, and you have payment platforms available to help you to collect your payments online. Like Paystack is still the only payment platform that connects with Shopify to help Nigerian businesses to receive their monies when they sell online. And then you have logistic companies, like Jeffrey said, who are up to scratch, up to the minute, available to help you to deliver when someone orders. So your online store is a way to reach more customers. Your store never closes. It's not impeded by lockdown. It's not impeded by social distancing. It's not impeded by COVID-19 or anything. But one thing you have to know is if you have a successful online store, you might find it difficult to ever go on vacation. I never thought of that until I heard it now. Okay, so then your online business helps you to become more effective. Your business becomes more effective. You sell more. You can change the prices or specifications of your goods or services anytime. You watch your trends, customer trends, financial data. You get online real-time feedback from your customer. You invoice, you receive payments, you set up automatic recurring invoices so you can receive payments, and you grow faster. You get known from nothing to something, according to Kati. So now online businesses are trending now. So you might as well get in the flow. Then your business case, your approach or path to market, where the customer demographics data, business data, who am I selling to, what am I selling, what is my value proposition, those should drive your decision to go online, and your approach towards going online should help you understand which platform to use, whether you should start from normal traditional social media or not, or you go full out to build your own platform, whichever one. So your business case should drive that decision and that process. Then you should make inquiries and consultations as to the appropriate platform for you, for your kind of business, and how affordable it is for you. Remember that many of these platforms, you continue to make payment for the lifetime of your business every month or every year. So you should make proper inquiries and consultations. Find how you get support to maintain your website or online store. And so before you take that decision, then you have to be aware of the tax implications of all your business activities, whether it's online or offline. You have to be aware. Even non-resident companies or companies providing these platforms should be aware of the taxes that apply to them, especially now with the advent of the Finance Act and the order that the minister just released, significant economic presence for non-resident businesses. Every taxpayer should be aware of the tax implications. Yes, the tax authorities may not have the capacity to cover or to find and tax every business that sells online, even those who sell via WhatsApp, like Jeffrey said. But remember that you have your BVN, which the tax authority can now access from their intelligence and machineries that they put up, and that they can assess your banking activities and the flow of monies. So someone can always find you at any time if they want to find you. So be compliant to taxes, engage more with your consultants. We also have tax law book. Our tax law book app is a compendium of tax laws, and it has other resources that can help you to understand tax. We also have online training courses on tax, on VAT, and on-demand courses or custom courses for your business, custom training on tax. So you understand what taxes apply and how to approach it in any business activity you're going into. So like I said before, you can host yourself with WordPress or WooCommerce, but it involves much more technicalities, and you need a professional or someone who understands technology if you don't, to help you set up and maintain. The cost can be high. Then you have Shopify. Shopify's business is e-commerce for people to trade online. So they already have the infrastructure. So remember last week when we were talking, I was saying you don't have to build or own the technology you use. You don't have to build from scratch. Use technology platforms that are already existing, because you didn't go into the business to start developing e-commerce platforms. You went there to sell. So just use already existing platforms that have all the infrastructure you need. Shopify has it. We're also partners to Shopify, and we can help you set up your e-commerce store on Shopify, and you can receive payments if you decide to attach the Paystack payment gateway to it. Then you have other platforms for websites. Shopify is basically for trading online. You have other ones for simple websites. If you don't want to trade online, just want to have a website. You have Wix. Wix also does some e-commerce. Then GoDaddy, you have Katix, websites.co.in. You have those ones to help you build website very easily. You don't have to maintain. You don't have to have your dashboard or your control panel. Or there's nothing technical apart from paying your subscription every month. For the e-commerce and trading online, on Wix and Shopify, you have from $17. You have $30 per month. Then GoDaddy, you have from $9 per month, £7 actually. Then websites.co.in, you have from $9 per month. So these are affordable prices when you think of the effectiveness you can get. Like people around us here, they go out in one evening and they use that amount to drink at the pub. So I don't see a reason why you cannot own an e-commerce store or an online store that helps you reach out to the whole world, or reach out to all your customers and make things easier for you. Then we can also help you set up an accounting software and connect it with your e-commerce store or your online store. So you have an end-to-end efficient financial process from selling to accounting. So that's just the summary of what I have and what I got. And once again, thank you for everyone who has stayed until now. We have actually spent a lot of time, and for our panelists for the insightful presentations. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much.
Magnus, please.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vivian. So it's now time for questions and answers, basically. And I think we don't have so many questions from what I can see and gather here, because the panelists have done great justice in sort of streamlining and bringing down basically most of the issues, because I recall that in the course of this week I shared some high-level questions that I filled out through. But there are about 3 or 4 questions here. And the first one, I want to address it to Kati. Kati, are you still there? And the question is, how can I get a website? So and I think the question is coming from the fact that we're giving away some website, and I want them to hear from you. And you talk about the gift voucher you've created for hashtag VIM30. So how can they get one website?
Okay, so it's very simple. Go on websites.co.in, you will see a start now button over there. Click on that. It'll ask you your personal details. So it'll ask you for your name, your contact details, like your phone number and your email ID. Next step, it'll ask you for the name of your business. It'll ask you the name of the business category that you operate in and the address of your business. You have to only fill these things in and your website comes alive immediately. Either you can go on websites.co.in, or if you have an Android phone, you go on Google Play Store, you type websites.co.in. We have an app available over there. You download the app, install it, and again, the same 3 steps. Your personal details, your business contact details, your business name, your business category, and your business address and phone number. And that's about it. You fill these in and your website comes alive immediately. So suppose it's VIM, they will register, the Magnus will put in his his name and his contact details. Then the business name will be VIM, the category will be consulting or local business. And, he'll put in the address of VIM, and immediately after he does that, vim.websites.co.in gets created, and there is a 30 days free trial. So you don't have to pay anything to explore this platform out. You can, put updates on the platform. You can put products on the platform. You can put services on the platform, and you will also be able to start collecting payments online. And that's by default. You don't have to do anything. You put a product online and it's directly linked with PayPal right out of the box, which means that people from all over the world will be able to purchase that product. And once they make the purchase, you will get an email from PayPal saying that you got, say, 10,000 naira, 100,000 naira in your PayPal account. Then you register with PayPal and you will find that money in your PayPal account. You link your bank account to your PayPal account, and within a few days, your money from your PayPal account comes to your bank account. This is very simple. We've seen people who are, 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds who have, small businesses. Just starting, a small business. Even these guys have created websites in their own language, and they've done it from all over the world, right? Which means even your grandma can do it. Go try it out. If you have any problems, I am there. Magnus is there to help you out. Does it answer your question, Magnus?
Yes, thank you very much, Kartik. The next question is to Joel, and I'm trying to wrap the discussion in the next 5 minutes. Joel, are you still there? So
yeah, I am.
Is e-commerce secure?
Yes. Well, it should be. So there's a few factors that come into play with that. When you are having a website built or choosing a service, most of the hosted platforms will come with a SSL certificate. But when you are, so that's a type of security certificate that's issued for sites. But when you are building your own site, so when we talk about like WordPress, Magento, OpenCart, a bunch of those solutions, it's actually usually an add-on that's sold by your provider, your hosting provider. So that's one factor. And then, pretty much any payment company you go with, but for the context of this conversation, Paystack, Flutterwave, Interswitch, these companies are PCI 1 compliant. So you can be assured that the payment process is part. If you're dealing with a PCI 1 company, that they are adhering to the strictest security measures to make sure that there won't be any issues with the payment part of your e-commerce site. But you're only as sorry, long answer here, but like you're as vulnerable as your weakest link, right? So even back at my time when I worked at one of a company 6 or 7 years ago, I won't name the name of the company, but we were hacked with our checkout process, and it ultimately was difficult to determine where it happened, but the information was scraped from the website, and we think it came down to a hosting vulnerability, but it was really hard to put our finger on it. So this is why I guess if you're looking at being secure with e-commerce, you need to make sure you have an SSL certificate, that you understand your hosting environment. Is it a shared hosting environment or dedicated? It's probably shared if you're not paying much, and that can be tricky. And then make sure you work with a payment provider that's PCI compliant. So there's some other factors that I didn't mention, but I think that covers most of it.
All right, thank you, Joel. Jeffrey, I hope you're still there. You have 2-in-1 question addressed to you. Hi, Jeff.
I'm here. What's the question?
Yeah, so I just wanted to get your attention so that I can then take the question. So,
Sure.
and I appreciate the fact that obviously most of us are still working at home in Nigeria, and you're joining this session from the comfort of your home. But the questions are similar to the one that Joel just responded to. So the question is 2-in-1. It says, are payment platforms secure considering where we stand in Nigeria? So that's the first question. You want to take that before I take the second one?
Yeah, I think Joel answered it perfectly well. We've had a very long history in the last 10 years of the heaviest level of fraud in Africa coming from Nigeria. And because of this, majority of the policies and processes deployed by CBN and other regulatory bodies is to ensure that the systems available for e-commerce is rightly protected to the highest standards possible. So here is one common one that everybody knows: tokens, two-factor authentications. You go on the website, you try to do a transaction, you get a token on a phone number that you may have registered. Now, without that token coming to your phone number and you imputing it, that transaction will not go, right? We have the other one that has to do with the central fraud system that needs to be deployed. Now, some of the transactions are also going through needs. So all of these structures are put in place, first from the bank, then from the integrated processing companies, then to gateway providers like Paystack and Flutterwaves, then to application people who are also trying to deploy mobile apps. And all of these levels of encryption and security is to ensure that whatever identity you've given yourself cannot be replicated, or transactions cannot become successful except you have imputed your information. However, it is interesting to note that you can provide the most secure gates in the whole wide world to a house, but if you leave the key at the doorstep, somebody will pick that key and go into that house. So there is also a level of security to the people who have set up these security measures on their websites as well, or those who own payment tokens like your payment cards, to also keep their information secure as well.
So the final question is still addressed to you, and considering you work at InterSwitch, and you did mention that we've got about 126 million active internet users. What is InterSwitch, or how can we as businesses basically bridge the gap between the retailer or the micro and small business in the market space and these internet users? What can we do to bridge that gap and bring these sets of people closer, and so that we can improve interactions?
Okay, I think that is already happening. It just needs to scale. It's already happening. We're having micro transactions in our local markets. We're having transactions through the ATM, even remotely. We're having huge financial inclusion growth. In the last 2 years, there have been more than 200,000 terminals deployed, with over 15 million cards issued in the last 2 years. You've had more downloads on mobile application from the banks. Practically everything you want to do now is on your banking mobile app today. So the innovation that we're seeing around us is even redefining the role that InterSwitch now plays in the market. Before the Paystack and the Flutterwaves and the rest of the financial inclusion that came in, were the central body for payment. So we're gradually moving into becoming enablers So we're enabling people like Paystack, we're enabling Flutterwave, we're enabling other businesses to also run, because it's a very big market for everyone. The more competitive the innovation is, the more reward to the end consumer. And so it's a level playing ground for everyone. Today, anybody who wants to be online can go online. You don't even need to go to any physical location. You can log into Switch website. I think it's business.quickteller.com, and all the things you need to do can happen from there. Just downloading, I mean, there's a Quickteller app today. You can download that today and do transactions almost immediately, no matter what bank accounts that you have to. So gradually, transactions and innovations are moving from large corporates to individual and micro transaction focus, because that makes up about 90 to 92% of the transactions that we see today.
Okay, there's one other question I just an anonymous attendee just sent in now, so it's obviously directed to, and we would like to get the views of yourself, Joel, and Jeffrey. And the question is it only security issue that is the disadvantage of going digital?
All right, let me just start with that first, and I'll allow Joel and the rest to also answer. I don't think security is the only issue. I don't even think security is even the issue anymore. I think if you look at those people who have gone online, their concerns are, can I remain online 90 to 100% of the time when a customer comes to buy from me? I would rank that as the first most important concern that people would have today. I'll allow Joel to also talk about that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Jeffrey. So, I mean, it is something you need to be prepared to account for, right? Like you're accountable to create a secure environment for e-commerce. But I think there's a lot of other things that are really important, a lot of which we've talked about today. But I guess one thing that comes to mind is just like, you do need to have a strategy, which seems obvious, but like you need to have good products, you need to have a strategy. There are a lot of websites. I mean, I've spent a lot of time just digging through websites in Nigeria, e-commerce websites. And I think my impression that I get is that there's a lot of people that have the idea that if they build it, people are going to come and buy stuff there. And people put a lot of emphasis on like building something really nice or getting online, but don't really understand how to drive traffic and grow. So that would be one thing I lean towards. Like you just need to, yes, have a secure space, but have a plan for how you're going to grow your business, and pick a platform that's going to make that easy for you, or be set up for success that in a way that is going to be easy for you. Like whether that means hiring someone to help you or having a plan for how you're going to do it. But you just see a lot of broken sites. You see a lot of people that tried and failed. And so it's just something to really, like, as much as it is easy to get started, you need to have, some tactics for how you're going to make it happen.
So which is one of the things VM is doing. So for any of our audience or people who get to see this video at the end of the day, if you do need support, one of the things that happen in this part of the world is a problem shared is half solved. So VM Professional Solution is there to be like a sounding board or a listening ear, more like an advisor. And if need be, that function can be outsourced and we will support you. Kartik, do you have any insight into the last question? Hello, Kartik, are you there?
So, yeah, so I think both of them, Joel and Jeffrey, have done a pretty good job at answering that, and they have a lot more experience in this industry. So I think I agree to whatever they're saying, and that's my word on it.
So, Mr. Paul, this question is from me to you and is in connection to one of the insights that you've actually put forward to the revenue authorities, where you made recommendation to them creating a dedicated team to focus on e-commerce activities. From your experience, have you seen any country or state that has a dedicated team of that? And if yes, where? So that, could begin to give we an insight from a tax perspective to look into their operations and then begin to understand some tax considerations from them. You're on mute, sir. You're on mute. We can't hear you. You need to unmute your phone.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
All right. Yes, I'm just drawing inference from the fact that if you look at, yes, presently, I don't have information if any of such relevant authorities have dedicated unit. But if you, I'm just looking at what is in practice. If you go to the relevant tax authorities, you see dedicated unit for high net worth individuals. You have for the technical firms, construction, and what have you. So why not for e-commerce? If we have that, it will help because, like you know, it's an emerging trend, and it's not something that we are familiar with. We're only familiar with the conventional businesses. So if something new is coming in, then the tax authorities must be proactive, not wait for, as it were, they're already waiting. Otherwise, they should not be reactive, but be proactive. Take proactive action by setting up those units. And those persons will source for those companies that have ideas about how to track, like I said earlier, such businesses and use the information to drive the process.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And with that, we're beginning to come to the end of our presentation today because there are no further questions. And just before I yield back to each of the panelists to say their final and parting words, I just wanted our audience to see we as VM Professional Solutions have got our own beautiful website. It's www.vi-m.com. You need to know more about us. You need to contact us. You need to get hold of anyone in our firm. You can actually get us on our website. Our basic single point entry email is client@vim.com, and you can reach either Vivian or myself on the cell phone number there. And on social media, we're active across Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And I would like to yield back to Vivian to start with the final closing words. Then we walk back and through the panelists, and we can then end the day. Vivian?
Thank you, Magnus. I don't have anything else to say, but thank you to everyone, and do have a great day. See you next week, Wednesday, same time.
Okay, Mr. Paul, closing words from you.
Yes, thank you, Magnus, for the opportunity you have given me to interact with my co-panelists and viewers. But then, I think I'm okay. End and see.
Yeah. Connection issues?
Okay. Yes, I was just saying that it's me to have interacted with you guys. I believe that the tax authorities, what you have done now is very, very important. If you can scale it up, because a lot of tax authorities are not aware of this e-commerce thing. You might just be hearing about it, but the quantum of the transactions, they are not aware. Look at what Joel said, even Katik and Jeffrey. You know, if you look at the number of persons, yes, it's an emerging thing, but then we are growing. So we continue to interact, bring it to public domain, so that the tax authorities will know how to go about doing this. Every little revenue that comes in for government is very, very important. And I want to thank you guys for bringing this up.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time. I'll be speaking with you after this discussion on ways we can partner to see how we can support the revenue agency back in Delta, because I know you're very influential, even though you've never hired, but we're mindful of your role and your level there. So we'll be in touch with you, right after this discussion. Katik, any parting words from you, Katik?
Thank you so much, Magnus, for giving me the opportunity. Nigeria is a beautiful country. Nigerians are beautiful people. You guys have amazing products and services. And I'm sure that the world is waiting to buy and transact with Nigeria. My parting words are Nigeria, let's go digital, let's go online, and keep showering your love on websites.co.in. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot from the panelists, learned a lot of insights from Joel, from Jeffrey, from Paul. So thank you. Just thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Kartik. Joel?
Yeah, beautiful words. Thank you for having me. I really, it's a fun space that we get to work in. I really have seen so much change in just a few years, and I'm just really excited. From what I shared, the data I shared today, but also what I see at Paystack. Like, so many people in Nigeria are interested in solving these challenges and have so many great ideas. There's just so much activity happening. So if you've attended this session, just take advantage of the info, and don't be afraid to engage with other people to learn more. Like, even Paystack, like, I can speak for our customer success team. Like, we will get on a phone call with you and we will guide you in the process. And it's awesome to see organizations like this putting on events where you get to hear a lot. Like, I've learned a lot today, and so I appreciate the chance to come be part of this. It was really cool.
Thank you, Joel. Jeffrey? You're on mute, Jeffrey. Go ahead.
I know. At first, I want to thank you for taking this opportunity.
You're very low. You want to come close to your mic?
To have to. Just want to thank you for giving the opportunity to meet other people that would not normally have the opportunity to meet. And that, for me, I think it's a very good gesture that you've done. I know a lot of people sacrificed a lot of hours to be on here. I was really looking up to all the panelists, and I know how busy we can get. I was hoping nobody was going to drop off as the hours counted on. But I mean, we all stood here to support this because we care about the market. We care about the people who want to go online, care about the businesses that are looking for solutions out there. And we have become subject matter experts. And so we're always available. I'm sure everybody on the panelists can be approached online at any time if you have any concern. And then we will be able to support with even building the right strategy for your business to go online. And just as Joel has mentioned. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Joel. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your audience, your time. Next week, we will strive as much as possible to keep this presentation or webinar or the session under an hour. It was my intention, but I mean, we all know how we can get when we go into presenting. Next week, we'll be talking about going digital on the Going Digital Retail on the Going Digital Nigeria webinar series. It will hold again next week, Wednesday at 12 noon. And we have exciting panelists that are already lined up for that session. So we want to thank all our audience, we want to thank our panelists, we want to thank Vivian, who is the brainchild behind this whole Going Digital Nigeria series. And we hope that as viewers see, as audience here, as those who will see this video later in the day or subsequently on other platforms, they are inspired, they are able to approach, they're able to take the right decision, they're able to scale their business. Based on one of the slides that Kartik earlier published, which is a comment or post from Jack Ma, let's all stay alive and let's try and keep our business alive. I want to wish everyone a very good rest of the day. Have fun. Remember to wash your hand, wear your face masks. Coincidentally, none of us was putting on face masks today, but it's okay. It shows that we're all locked up in the corners of our home. And we pray that all things being equal, as soon as COVID-19 is history in our lives, we'll be able to synergize and do more business together. So let's collaborate. I'll be in touch with each and every one of us. All our panelists, all our attendees are going to be receiving a link to the video, and we'll be in touch with those who have won the website for today. Thank you all, and do have a nice day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye then.
Bye all.